Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday. Yes, I didn't know if I'd be here, but I am here, right? Today is November 22nd. So, what are we talking about today? I thought that we kind of do a subject that has relationships with work and home life. And that is, do you focus on problems or do you focus on possibilities? It's a pretty simple question. And I can tell you, and I will tell you in this video of why doing one and not the other will get you farther ahead. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekend. Today is Saturday, the 22nd of November, 2025. And today we're going to be talking about problems or possibilities. See, I used to be problems, right? And that's where I would focus myself. And you go into the shop in the morning and you're looking at customers' machines that need to be fixed, deadlines, uh, lawnmowers from hell, you name it. And your whole mindset starts to change because you're looking at these as problems you have to fix, right? And it starts weighing heavily, and the people around you pick up on this quick. Your employees, your customers, and even the home life with the wife and kids or the husband and kids, they pick up on it as well. And what is really going on is that you've decided that you're going to focus on problems. And when you start focusing on problems, you're starting to try to control things, okay? And I'm not a Bible preaching, pumping, not even any of the above. When it's your time, it's your time. I wasn't made to convert anybody. But for me, what I've learned over years is there's certain things that were never meant for me to carry. But yet, for some reason, when I was focusing on problems, I thought they were. And that's what was getting the heaviest, was the stuff that I felt like was out of my control. And with doing it that way, I wasn't looking at possibilities, which is the opposite of problems. What are we talking about? Talking about, we talk about doing a reset in the morning so that if yesterday sucked, today's going to be a better day. Today's going to be a new day with new challenges, with new positive outcomes, that warm and fuzzy feeling. But doing a reset is very important. And I do it every morning because I don't want to carry crap over from yesterday. And I've spent my lifetime of where I would spend months worrying about one thing, one problem. And when it was all said and done, I wasted all that time. And what it also did was it closed doors on me. And you're saying, what do you mean by closing doors? I mean, if I'm so focused on the problems, I'm not looking at the potential other revenue streams, customers, what have you, that I could have. Because I'm over here, right? But the possibilities are right here. And if I'm not looking at it, good chances are I'm not going to see it. And neither are you. So how can we change? It's all about changing us, right? And one of the ways to do that is when you get done with your reset, have a cup of coffee and be grateful. Be grateful for everything you have. I don't care if you sit there and list everything you have. And what I can tell you in life is that I don't measure anybody's net worth by how much money they have. I measure it by how many close friends and family they have. The money comes and goes. The money can only do just so much for you. If you're miserable when you're poor, you're going to be miserable when you're rich. That's all I can tell you. So, in the morning with your coffee, be grateful for the things that you have, the kids, the grandkids, family, friends, what have you. And then take on the first issue of the morning. And you want it so that you're going to have a win, all right? So pick an easy one. Or better yet, take that problem and break it down into manageable segments. And what I have found is if I'm in the right mind frame, things go smooth and we knock things out in a hurry. If I'm in a pissy mood, it puts Claude in a pissy mood, and we end up not getting squat done during the day because we're forcing things. And that's what happens, right? Is when you start forcing things, you're willing to overlook things, the obvious. And you're not doing that purposely, but it's getting out, right? Whereas if everybody's in a good mood, enjoying working together, good chances are nothing is going to get missed. And things are going to you're going to get more accomplished. Case in point is I bought a newer tractor with a cab, and Claude bought a brand new tractor with a cab. That's going to increase what we have going out per month. And like I was telling him, what we need to do is we just need to increase the workload. And that means we need to think outside the box. And since starting the resets quite a while ago, my ability to talk with customers and that has changed dramatically. And they're receptive. We had a guy come in yesterday that we had just picked up his tractor. And the whole wiring harness was screwed. There was water in his transmission and the 90 weight oil that we drained. But he stopped in to see how we were coming. Because when we went up there to get it, we actually had to winch it on, and one of the brakes, we thought the brakes was locked up, but it wasn't. It was a big chunk of ice in the rear end, and it had froze. So Claude and I are telling him what we're doing because he's down. We invited him down in to see where his tractor was, and he says, "This is not my tractor." We're like, "Oh, geez." And I said, "What do you mean it's not your tractor?" He said, "Well, there's a young couple that inherited a piece of property next to me, and she would like to get these going, so I've been trying to help her. And he's going for dialysis twice a week." And it kind of got in over his head, per se. So he was asking roughly what it was going to cost to have it rolling right out of the shop. And I said, "Well, what I can tell you is if you tell them 500, everybody's going to be happy. Because we already got it running. There was water in the fuel, water in the rear end." But while we're talking about that, he said, "She's got 2 other tractors that she wants worked on if you guys are willing to do it." And I look at Claude, and we just had this conversation of how can we get more work? And I says, from the customers that we already have. Most of them have more than one tractor. And if we're outgoing, do a great job for a fair price, we will get more work. Period. So I told the guy, I said, we would be more than appreciative to be able to do the next 2 jobs for her because we could use the business. And don't we appreciate anything? And that's a draw for your customers is when you appreciate them. And that they're bringing their work to you. They don't have to, right? So my neighbor stops in and says, "Do you have a good place to get soybean bales?" And I said, "Yeah, actually I have a friend that put up a bunch." So he said, "If you can bring 2 of them, I'll give you one and I'll keep the other." So I give my friend a shout on Facebook, "Do you have any left? If so, I'll take 2. So he's like, "Yeah." So we get over there and he's not having very good luck. His truck for some reason the battery was dead, the doors were locked, and so I told him, I said that let's get the round bales loaded. I asked him where his jump pack was, and he said locked in his truck. So I said, my jump pack is at the shop. Why don't you go ahead and load me? We'll go over and drop the trailer, come back with a jump pack and see if we can get you going. And while the jump pack was sitting there putting juice back into the system slowly, it didn't work. He mentioned that he had 2 tractors that he'd like to have us work on because he had talked to me earlier in the year about one tractor not having much power, and I told him, this is where you need to check. And I showed him right on the block of where the fuel shutoff is. Sometimes that will move and you're running only on half fuel instead of full. So he was telling me yesterday that he did check that, and sure enough, that when he turned the wheel to a certain direction, it had come out of its holder and it was pulling back on that rod, so it was starving it for fuel. Where he thought the engine was rough shape, it was just the fuel shutoff that you use to stop the tractor, to shut it off. But he started going on with a list of things for each tractor that he's got that's just next door to my property. And he said, if you guys be willing to work on it. And I said, absolutely. So we get in the truck, and I told Claude, I said, there's 4 tractors just today that we brought in that we can work on. Of course, Debbie Downer's like, yeah, but the other 2, they're big. You can't get them in the shop. That means we have to work on them in the outside. And I said, it's supposed to be 50 degrees by Wednesday. One's a charging issue, and the other one is a starting issue. So there's no reason why we can't knock both of them out in one day if we really put our mind to it. Do you want the increased work or not? Because if not, I'm not going to waste my time. I stopped looking at problems and started looking at possibilities, which meant opening the door to other things that could provide revenue by looking at my already customers and understanding that they have more than one piece of equipment. Or they might have a friend that has a tractor that needs to be worked on. That's the way to get business. It's not somebody driving by your shop and then just stopping in, which is fine. But the bulk of the work that you're going to get is how you treat your customers, how you treat the public around you, and if you're looking at possibilities instead of problems. And if you do that, if you're able to switch it over from problems to possibilities, that opens up a whole new chapter, right? And that lightens the load. Because problems, what do? They drag you down, right? Where possibilities will heighten you, will lift you up. And it doesn't hurt to have the Lord in there too, because with possibilities, you're not trying to control everything. You're not. You're just there letting people know that you're gracious and that you're willing to work on just about anything for a fair price. That's it. Problems, Debbie Downer, it's not worth it. It's going to cost us more money. I mean, it's hard when you get around someone like that because they can draw you down, and that's the way I was. I used to discount everything because of what may have happened in the past with another customer that didn't work out. And the reason it didn't work out with the other customer is how I approached things and the way I did things. And that is, we changed from if they're unknowns to you at least have to put the cost of the parts up front. We'll get a list of the parts that we need, give you a price, you pay us that, we'll get the parts ordered, and then you always labor on what's left with the tractor. Because there are some jobs that you actually can get more money invested in it than what their tractor's worth. And if they balk and they go the other direction and you're stuck with their tractor, you may not be able to recoup what you had in it. So in the comments, can you relate when I talk about problems to possibilities? Because if you can, you're halfway there. So this morning, do a reset and then be grateful for everything that you've got, gracious, and then work on things that you know you can get accomplished. And the things that are outside your control, let them go. For me, I give it to God. But if you don't believe in God, higher power, space aliens, I don't care. Then let those go that you haven't got any control over. And the things that I find that I don't have any control over are other people and things that there's nothing I can do about other than listen. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday, and maybe we'll be here bright and early tomorrow morning. I think I might go sit this morning in the deer stand to see if I see anything. Not sure yet. Enjoy your Saturday.